Do you ever feel like you have too many passions, too many creative interests? Like your creative pursuits are all over the place. And does that make you feel like an outsider? Like a multi-passionate creative weirdo? Does it make you wonder if something's wrong with you? Like maybe you're broken? Well, I have a message for you. You are not broken. You are designed exactly as the universe planned for you to be. And the fact that you have so many gifts, interests, experiences, and creative pursuits, that is your strength. That is your gift. Your weird is your strength. I felt this way for a long time, and sometimes I still struggle with the fact that I have so many interests and so many creative passions. But as I've grown older and dug into so many of my different creative pursuits, I've realized how those passions, interests, bits of knowledge, and experiences all build upon each other. I've realized that being multi-passionate is my superpower. It helps me connect the dots that other people might not see the invisible threads in between. I struggled for a long time, especially in my 20s and my early 30s, feeling like I needed to figure out how to pick just that one thing that I could focus on, feeling like I was wrong or weird for wanting to do and experience so many completely different things. As I learned more about marketing and branding my creative business, I kept getting told that you needed to niche down. You needed to pick that one thing or that one audience to speak to. And after I've been working in digital marketing full time for the last decade, I can see the truth in that, and there's nuance to it. It's not just a black or white, this or that issue like a lot of stuff in life. Yes, there is some truth to the idea that if you narrow your focus and do just one creative pursuit or pick just one niche or whatever, that you can often go faster, you can often more easily reach more people. And even in my own life and my own creative pursuits, I've realized that sometimes it's about focusing on one thing for a set amount of time. Focusing on one particular project at a time can help you achieve that project more than if you're trying to juggle 5 different projects at a time. When I've narrowed my focus to one particular creative project at a time, it's helped me to achieve those projects. For example, I've self-published 2 different books, I wrote, produced, and performed a one-person show, and during the time that I was working on those things, I was hyper-focused on that one creative project. But that's one of the things that I've realized is that that one thing doesn't have to be one thing forever. It can be one thing for a sprint of time, a certain defined period or project. And then you can pivot to something completely different and focus your attention on something else, but take along those experiences and knowledge from all of the other projects and learnings that come before it and use that to inform your unique voice, your unique artistic creative vision for the next projects. By approaching your creative work this way, you become your own niche. By becoming your youest you, by digging into all of the combination of things that make you particularly unique, your lived experiences, your interest, your creative vision, and the way that you and only you can see the world, that helps you differentiate yourself from everybody else out there in a way that no robot or AI is ever going to be able to compete with. One of my favorite examples, an all-time favorite artist who was so amazing at this, is David Bowie. I first discovered David Bowie's music in high school, but he's not just a musician or a songwriter, he is an artist through and through in the way that he approached his life, even to the very end. In addition to his music, David Bowie was an actor, a painter, a deep thinker, and you can see this in the way that he was constantly reinventing himself. He was constantly creatively challenging himself and not looking to others for inspiration. Well, I'm sure he looked to others for inspiration to some extent. He was really focusing on what was creatively interesting to him. To me, David Bowie is the epitome of what it means to be a multi-passionate creative or artist. He lived his life and pursued his art on his own terms. Bowie's famous advice for artists about why you should never play to the gallery sums it up best.
Never play to the gallery, but never work for other people. Always remember that the reason that you initially started working was that there was something inside yourself that you felt that if you could manifest it in some way, you would understand more about yourself and how you coexist with the rest of society. I think it's terribly dangerous for an artist to fulfill other people's expectations. I think they generally produce their worst work when they do that. And if the other thing I would say is that if you feel safe in the area that you're working in, you're not working in the right area. Always go a little further into the water than you feel you're capable of being in. Go a little bit out of your depth. And when you don't feel that your feet are quite touching the bottom, you're just about in the right place to do something exciting.
As Bowie says, the primary focus of your art or creative pursuits shouldn't be to please other people and shouldn't be to make money. Yes, those can be amazing side effects, but that can't be the primary goal, not if you want to be a true artist. Now, look, some artists and creatives can go really deep on one specific subject matter or niche, and there's part of me that envies that sometimes, quite frankly. There's a famous artist from New Orleans, where I live, who made a killing narrowing in on one specific thing. George Rodrigue was famous for his blue dog paintings, and it made him a lot of money, made him super successful as an artist. But not all of us can just narrow down on that one thing. Not all of us want to paint one thing for our entire lives or make art about one thing. Some of us want to be more like David Bowie and be constantly challenging ourselves and reinventing ourselves. And sometimes that goes really well and has a lot of critical acclaim. And sometimes, you create an album that doesn't do so well. The important thing is choosing the artistic path that feels right for you. And if you're watching this, if you are a multi-passionate, multi-potentialite type of creative artist, then you probably want to keep digging in and reinventing yourself. You're probably more of a Bowie than a blue dog painter. If you were the kind of weird art kid who grew up loving musicals like Rent and off-Broadway shows and drag and cabaret and burlesque and costumes, and I'm describing me, this is me, I'm describing myself. If you like weird art, if you prefer to hang out at the Fringe Fest instead of go to the downtown most popular art galleries, if you like the super weird avant-garde stuff that doesn't make sense to everybody, that's okay. If your creative passions are a little all over the place or a little outside of the norm, because what's normal anyway, that should be something to celebrate. Especially these days with AI taking over so many conversations around creativity and what the future will look like for creatives, it's more important than ever to dig into your weird, to dig into all of those multi-passions, those different interests. Because the weirder you get, the more you can combine all of your individual experiences and passions and the way that you connect the dots in the way that nobody else, and especially no AI computer, ever can. That's where you become more memorable, more unique, and that's where you can stand out and differentiate yourself. But more importantly than that, it means that you get to live an artful, creative life on your terms. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, because we only get one shot at this life. Time is precious, so make every moment count. Live your life as art. Embrace your weird, because your weird is your strength. Your weird is your superpower.